All right. Welcome to the Dragon's Tome, episode 102, Dragon Magazine 102. I'm unprepared, and I don't know what month we are in.
October 85.
October 1985. We're getting close to Christmas, guys. So,
you still got Halloween in there.
Yeah, close to Christmas. What I'm trying to say is, I need you to get the Sears catalog out. I need you to get your Dragon Magazine out. I need to start circling things that you want. I'm going to be doing the same, and then we're going to hand off those pages to each other.
That was good times.
Yes. See? Here we are. Of course, joined with my friends Long and Forever.
I'm Long.
Jack and Rob.
Oh.
And I'm McQuaid.
Nobody get that. Only Toronto people get that one.
Joined again. Once again, never left my side. Loyal like dog.
Ow.
Hmm.
Is that a precursor to what's good?
There's a treat, and there's a treat.
Ow, my back hurts.
Like
Could you rub my back? It
hurts. Pretty soon, I think by the time we hit episode 105, we're going to be called the Geriatric Dragon's Tome.
It's already called that.
Yeah, well, I think we got a few inks left. So let's look at our cover. We got our good friend Dean Morrissey back.
Who just as while we were on break, Jack and I looked it up. He passed away in March 2021.
Oh, long-time listener, long-time friend. R.I.P. Dean.
Yeah. So we're making fun of people dying, and it's getting to the point where people are dying. Sadly.
Well, canonically, he was dead before then. So.
Yeah. When did we start the show? What year? I like the silence. We have no clue. But were we doing the show when he was still alive? That was my question.
What year is it again? He died?
March 2021. I don't think so. We started in 2021.
No, we started. We haven't even got a year yet. I don't think.
We do one a week.
On, Patrick.
And
we're at 102.
Yeah.
There's 52 weeks a year.
We are past.
I refuse to believe that we've done this just that long.
We've done it for over 2 years. Yes.
Oh my God!
No, we hadn't been doing.
What are we doing with our lives?
We may have thought of this as he was laying on his deathbed. His thoughts were like, "Do it," because that's where we thought of the concept was that year or that day.
Like, I won't have to listen to those jokers anymore.
Yeah, that's right. I'm getting out of here before I have to hear this podcast.
He just painted. He's just a painter. It's not like he had anything to do with the magazine itself.
No.
But we do make fun of his gnomes.
We do. We're going to make fun of these gnomes a little bit.
They're not gnomes. They're dwarves, first of all.
Jack gets really angry when we call them gnomes.
Are they dwarves, though? Because they don't look at all stout.
Why are they dwarves, Jack? Why do you think they're dwarves?
They're very emaciated dwarves, then.
It's called the Pillage of Tantlin by Dean Morrissey.
Are you going stereotypical because that one's carrying an axe?
How many gnomes do you know that do a armed raiding party situation?
Tons.
Tons?
Let's read it. What do you think about the cover?
On the south side, those gnomes down there, jail time is what they need.
Okay.
It does not say if they're gnomes or anything on the description of the cover.
What's the title of the painting?
The Pillage of Tantlin.
Well, we all know gnomes are also thieves.
They look like gnomes to me.
If it would have been the burglary of, I would have said, but that's neither here nor there. There's no gnoos is good gnoos with gnomes.
I would like to just point out, I don't know if this gnome in the front is walking around with a blunderbuss or some kind of flintlock.
I think it's a candlestick sticking outside of a bag.
Yeah, that's the bag of treasure.
Okay. Yeah. And so let me just point out, after our good friend Dean, not Dean, what was his name again last week?
Oh, no, last week was David Martin.
David, after the nice proportions of David Martin, we're now back to this weirdly shaped.
They're gnomes. They're not. They're
weird
shapes.
Mostly like, well, the guy in the back looks like he's proportioned, but this guy looks like he doesn't even have a waist. He's just all abdomen and legs.
That's how we know he's not a dwarf. He has knees.
No, we know he's not a gnome because his tall red conical hat is absent.
Oh, he's 100% wearing a conical hat.
Red conical hat. Damn it! There you go. You're hoisted on your own petard.
You think that's a cone?
Oh, well, sorry.
I have geometry lessons for you, my friend.
It's
I
a
mean, it's a
that's
limp, it's a
sloped.
limp
Yeah,
cone,
it's a
but
limp
yeah.
cone. Yeah.
I mean, just because the guy in the back belongs to the IRA doesn't mean that this kid's not wearing a.
Oh,
it's berets aplenty. There's no conical hats. There's no sir. Anyways,
we'll not have it.
who's running this?
Let's move on.
Let's
Before
talk
we get
about this
into some
cover
kind
for an hour.
Let's somebody gets into some kind of race war between gnomes and dwarves.
It's gonna get
It's
knocked
already
down,
happened.
drag out fight going on here.
So Jack,
Oh, me?
yeah, why don't you start us off this time because I feel like you were the most angriest about gnomes and dwarves.
Well, then I wish I would have chosen the article that is based around dwarves that is in the magazine. That's why the cover has dwarves on it, but I didn't. This one's got a lot of good stuff in this.
Well, I
magazine
did,
here,
and
so
then I'll tell you why they're not dwarves.
They're Gully Dwarves.
racist. Can we go to page 22?
Yeah, I knew this was going to be Jack. It was going to be you and me doing this
Oh,
one.
I knew Jack would talk about the puppers.
Lots of puppers.
Yep, I did the same thing.
It's to break it down. Basically, there are
I want a bush dog.
10 different types of dogs that you could have, from foxes to dire wolves and everything in between.
I just gotta say, in Call of Cthulhu, a dole is something very different.
Oh,
Yeah, 100%.
it's not a canine. It's not.
No,
No,
it's
the
a
dole
giant
has
worm.
wings.
No, it's got a giant worm, isn't it, dole?
Oh, I'm thinking of Biaki.
Doles are giant worms.
Does the giant worm have wings? Because if so, one less argument.
Bush dog. That's all I have to say.
Bush dog. That little guy in the front, yeah. So
Look, he's yelling at the
yes,
wolf. He's like, "Mah."
a canine companion is obviously the metric in which I would measure any character worth their salt. But if you continue down, it also has another batch that is all hyenas.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's on page 28 of the PDF. So there's some ads and stuff in
Oh,
between.
jeez.
So now you have
Harley Quinn.
yes, you could have a Harley Quinn situation where you have two pet hyenas.
I forget their names. Frank and something.
One's voiced by Whoopi Goldberg. That's all I know.
The other one was Cheech Marin.
Cheech.
Cheech Marin. Yep.
Yeah. So you can have hyenas, or
I thought it was a nice article though because it gave you alternative encounters outside other than just wolves.
dingoes can eat your baby.
Dingoes can eat your baby.
Dingo got my baby.
The way it's laid out is it's the stat blocks. So you've got the pertinent information, and each one has a little blurb that kind of gives
Bush
the
dogs come in 2 to 12. Imagine 12 little bush dogs running around. Oh.
Like chihuahuas.
It would be a dream come true.
They have a quarter hit dice.
I mean, another good thing about this article too is that because you get the feral dogs, you can run into a pack of feral dogs in a city adventure.
Yeah,
I have to fight off feral dogs.
Yeah,
that happens a lot in Chicago.
It happens a lot everywhere. We have a lot of coyotes around here, but feral dogs are much worse than coyotes.
And the what are they called when it's a coyote and a dog that's bred? What's it called? It's called a
coy dog.
Coy dog. That's right. We got those around too.
I didn't know. I only recently found out that foxes were of the canine family. I didn't know that.
Oh.
What do you think they were?
I don't know. Just like minks.
If they didn't stink as bad as they do, they would be as domesticated as dogs.
Minks?
There's places in the world
or
that
foxes?
They have, but
foxes or minks?
Foxes.
Ferrets too. Ferrets they stink too, but they're very friendly, I guess. People like ferrets.
Well, so that was
I thought foxes, ferrets, minks, all those were together, but no, foxes are dogs. Who knew? Can they breed? Can you breed a fox with a Doberman?
I don't know because I think they're not. What is it? Genus species?
I don't know. I don't know how that. I never knew.
I can't remember. I can't
I
remember
never
how that
took
goes.
biology in school. I never. Took...
I don't think they're the same species, but the same genus.
Ah, okay. So they're canine, but
Yeah.
not close enough to
Yeah.
mate. Like
Rob don't know much about biology.
Nah, I know.
I mean, I could be wrong. I'm not a biologist either.
I don't think
So,
wolves dogs can mate either, because wolves aren't actually.
they
they
because there are some
Is
Siberian
there?
wolves out there.
Yeah,
I didn't think they could because I thought they were not that close.
they
No,
can.
You can.
If the dogs,
There's a whole
Comment below.
shelter. There's a whole shelter for wolf dogs in somewhere near here.
crazy.
All right. Well, dogs, woof, love them. Jack loves him. He loves my dog. My dog
Yes.
loves Jack.
Yep.
So let's move on to Rob, who hates
You-
my dog, and
you-
my dog hates him.
No, your dog loves me, but your dog is
Oh,
more of
My
like
dog
a
loves my
he
dog
loves
loves you.
He loves everybody,
loves
but
everybody.
he's more like a hyena, anyways. He's less like a dog.
That's true.
My article is going to be on. This is the one I didn't want Jack to steal because it's one of my few ones. But page 10. It's The Realms of Role-Playing by Gary Gygax. So Gygax goes off on complaining that RPGs are too acting-based and drama-based without enough action now.
Yeah.
Which it's...
This article is very confusing to me.
Well, originally it was all about the action and there was no role-playing. But I guess now in 1985, it's gone the other way.
I'm not sure what he's trying to say, though, you know?
He's saying you need a happy medium between the two instead of it just being all about drama and I agree because
I agree in part a little bit too, but you know,
Jack and I played in a steampunk at some tournament or at a convention, a steampunk RPG, and it was all about you had to act and drama and all this, and it was the most painful thing I've ever had to do in my life, and so you need a happy medium. We see it both ways.
Well, he would say confusing, like he says, role playing should turn into role assumption. Like,
well,
I feel like that's the same thing.
Yeah, no, you have to assume the character instead of he's very odd.
Yeah,
about
is
his
he trying?
terminology.
I mean, then that's what my question I wrote here is he trying to say that people are turning their characters into themselves, or not turning themselves into their characters?
I think he's saying instead of acting like your character, you should assume the role of your character.
Yeah,
I know that's a slight
semantics.
different. Yeah, but it is.
It's wordplay.
It's all. That's why this whole thing was confusing to me. Like,
But
I wasn't sure what he's trying to say.
I think he seems to be targeting the tournaments. It seems to be that it's used to be tournaments all about point systems, how many you kill, which you problems you solve, and now it's more like judgment based. I think he doesn't like that as much.
But that's where the RPGA took it, and I actually like it that way.
Well, that's I prefer it that way myself, but.
Society at large took it that way.
Yeah.
Dungeon crawling.
Not really. I think it's a cyclical because look at D&D fourth edition was all action based, right?
Yeah,
so we're come around to back to RPG based.
I don't think anyone likes to talk about the fourth edition D&D.
No, but a lot of people liked it at the time. It's just like no, nobody liked it.
Miniature collectors liked it.
Yeah, clicky people. Anyways,
board gamers liked it.
Yeah, so I think he would have like flipped a wig if he ever saw Critical Role. Like that would be the antithesis of what he likes. Like he'd be like, "Oh my god, these guys are actually actors."
Of course.
Yeah.
He also said he wants a system to ID if a game is a module. What?
You think he'd want to fight Joe?
No, that's not Critical Role.
No, but the actor who's championing D&D.
Well, he has his actors.
Joe Manganiello.
Oh, yeah.
He wants a system on all the modules to ID if the game is module tournaments and games, if they're focused on role playing or if they're focused on action, or like he wants a system because he must have been burned by something where he's like he picked up an RPG and it was all like, remember that one we saw the ad for and it was all like mind in your mind and you have to figure out he probably picked that up and it was like, what the hell is this? How do I shoot somebody? But anyways, yeah, it's a funny little article by Gygax, which it's an odd little thing that it was like he had a deadline and he was just like, I gotta write something. I guess I'm gonna have a little tantrum about role playing.
I just think he's watching his baby grow up, and it's getting out of
Yeah.
his. It's now in the hands of the fans.
Well, this might be a time to also mention what's happening behind the scenes at this point.
And he had two options. He could either embrace that and say, "This is all of us creating a there's a zeitgeist of role playing now, and I embrace that," or he could say, "I made dungeon crawlers.
Mhm.
I want treasure. I want monsters. I want a map."
Yeah.
And I don't need too much more than that.
Behind the scenes at this time, as we heard last issue, he had just come back from out west back to Lake Geneva to kind of get the house in order, because when he came back, he found out the Bloom brothers had he was blowing money like crazy, but they had blown money
Bloom
like
brothers
crazy.
really,
They blew a lot of the money. So at this month when this magazine comes out, Laureen Williams gets brought in, and she buys out the Blooms. She got brought in.
Gary tried to buy out the Blooms first.
Wow.
But he couldn't get the money together.
Yeah. And also he tried to sue because he supposedly had an option to do that, and the court said no, you don't have an option for that. So she buys out the Blooms. She was hired like a few months ago, or I think last year, by Gary himself to like try to get the thing in order because he saw the way it was going. But she buys out the Blooms, so she takes control of TSR. She has more control than he does now of TSR.
Yeah.
So he's definitely on the way out at this point.
Yeah, well, she hates. I can't remember it was in the biography in the book, but there's a thing, she takes control of it, but she like hates everything about TSR.
Well, she hates she hates games. Like she's not a game person.
She hates games, and so
she tries to run like a business that
you put someone who doesn't like the product in charge of the project.
Yeah,
and I didn't know this. Also, we were talking about this. She's from the family that's I can't remember what the paper it was, but Buck Rogers was originally in this paper, and they own the Buck Rogers like
IP.
The
Buster Crab IP, yeah.
Yeah, but the family of the guy who actually invented it, they had to sue later to get like some of it back, but her family owned it, and her brother, the way that she met Gygax is her brother was Flint Dilley, who, as we know, I was flipped out about because he wrote G.I. Joe cartoons back in the day, but that's who he met him out west when he started doing the D&D cartoon. And he's like, "Oh, my sister's a businesswoman," and so he brought her in. Little did Gygax know at the time that he was about to get screwed.
Known as his own executioner.
Yeah, so it's really interesting what's happening, and I think over the next few months we can read between the lines of some of the stuff that Gygax says, and it should be fun. It should be fun. I like the history of it, and this is coming to a major point in the TSR history. So
yeah, if you haven't read that book, I can't remember, something Imagination, the autobiography,
Imagination,
the documentary
of Imagination
of Gary and everything. It's a really good book, and it goes way in depth about this time period, what's happening right now.
Yeah, really interesting. It's I know it all from Wikipedia pages, so I'm sure it's much more interesting in book form.
So there's more on Wikipedia than just feet?
Feet?
That's only.
I think that's Pornhub, Jack.
That's OnlyFans, Jack.
It's a totally different website. Barely has pictures.
All right. Well, let's move on from that before we get a copyright strike. And let's go to page 14.
We really should get slander, because we slander people all over the place.
Well, I know. Let's not put that idea in anyone's heads, all right?
Jack, is this why you think
all passed?
You think these are Gully Dwarves on the cover? Look at these people.
Yes.
These are
Gully. This is all about Gully Dwarves.
These wouldn't dress up with berets. Oh wait, the one guy has a beret.
These are the ones. Yes, there's. Last week, Pat had said that he had a unrelenting, unquenchable thirst for the death of all the Kinder. Well, I did not care for the Gully Dwarves.
I didn't care for the Gully Dwarves either.
Is this from...
again, in keeping with the Dragonlance media,
this is Dragonlance too.
Yes, we are now giving Gully Dwarves to play, and I wasn't about it because the Gully Dwarves in the book are just—I don't even know how you can even make this a playable character because they have an attention level of like a fourth grader. They have
like most
very basic
D&D
understanding
players.
of tools. But in keeping with the story, I guess you can become like a cleric and everything because one guy I forget his name. The one main character, Gully Dwarf, that gets to be the hero, becomes their leader and unites the Gully Dwarves. In a sense, I'm paraphrasing this because I don't truly remember his whole story from the Dragonlance books.
Gully
But
Dwarves.
I don't know why this should, if anything, this should have been an NPC race and just left it at that.
Well, if they're in the books, they want to make them real races. They're player.
Well, I mean, I get it. Just that's why I start my whole thing in keeping with the Dragonlance mania. Oh, let's put these out because Dragonlance is here. People are, thirsty for Dragonlance.
Their max intelligence and wisdom are 9.
Yeah, that's the highest, and that's the smartest of the smart.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very classist, almost mean-spirited, like dwarves from Appalachia, or
Yes, exactly.
situation.
So they're hillbilly dwarves.
Hillbilly dwarves.
I mean, hillbilly. I would give more stock to a hillbilly dwarf than a Gully Dwarf.
It's the ultimate caricature of a hillbilly.
If there was a hillbilly dwarf, you go one step lower, and then you got Gully Dwarves.
Yeah, and where Kinder, you were like, okay, well, I know, you can see.
I feel like Kinder could be a playable character, even though it annoys the hell out of me. Gully Dwarves, I don't see.
Now, if you
fun way to play Gully Dwarves as a player character.
Playing real stupid might be fun though.
If your party rolled up into a little a holler back in some area, and you had these NPCs, you could,
next time someone doing a DD campaign, I'm going to play my dwarf real dumb. You won't be a Gully dwarf, but it'll be.
I just feel like these have been better off as an NPC as a player character. But that's all I'm going to say about Gully Dwarves because I feel like I've given them too much limelight. So, Jack, what you got?
Limelight. Okay. Page 32.
All right. So
32.
We're just knocking out all my articles. So
I knew you guys would pick this one.
I knew, well, it's a Ed Greenwood, so it's quality right off the hop, but also there's plenty to delve into. So if I'm treading on other people's toes here, just jump right in.
No, not a problem.
Don't worry, you will.
Much in Mr. Greenwood
fashion.
Dr. Greenwood.
I call him Professor Greenwood, aka Elminster.
It is it's a bunch of different wands that they've got the description of what it looks like, pretty wordy, what it looks like, and then followed by a passage of what it does. And some of them are better than others. A wand of mirrors, wand of banishment, things like that.
I think the wand of banishment's pretty cool.
I'm pretty sure some of these actually make it into the actual books, right? Because I think I remember wand of obliteration and.
Yeah, it might be Norse Arcana or some other second edition book.
Oh, it wouldn't be an Arcana because that's already out. But
yeah, but what I'm saying is that it's either an Arcana or a second edition.
But it's not Norse Arcana. It's in Dragon Magazine. They wouldn't publish it if it was in the other book.
No, because I think the edict was, hey, Unearthed Arcana's coming out. Let's slow our roll on some stuff.
That's right. We did go over that article, didn't we?
Yeah. So I'm quite sure that now some of them kind of act like I remember some of the items, but I couldn't with 100% certainty. Not even like a 50-50 certainty that any of these don't show up or have not or shown up at some point, but. Some of them are like, oh, that sounds familiar. Another one's like, oh, that's really weird.
Wand of Teeth. Can it shoot teeth at people?
That's for the Gully Dwarves.
There's a
it
so
shoots,
they can have some.
It shoots teeth.
They can eat their catfish. Yes.
It's pretty much a machine gun that shoots teeth.
Yeah. I mean, in I don't know. I don't even know what the word I'm looking for. in Ed Greenwood fashion. Tons of cool ones. Tons of
Yes.
literature.
Is a
Yeah.
font of fantasy knowledge.
I mean,
Just keeps
as a
pumping stuff out.
DM, there's no reason why you wouldn't have this printed up somewhere in your books.
Yeah.
For sure. This one of these, two of these would make it into
Oh
your
wait, it's
campaign.
1985. There's no way you wouldn't have
85.
photocopied this and put it in your books. You wouldn't. There's no way you wouldn't have paid a quarter to get a page to get this photo.
Yeah.
Okay. Was there photocopiers in 85?
I wonder if your Kinko's already in 85.
I don't know. I never had a. I remember using the stupid carbon paper. That stuff sucked.
I do remember there were photocopiers in certain places, like
I'm sure,
like before
libraries or something.
there were print places too that you use. They would print things for you, and it was a photocopier they would do.
Before they got all fishy about copyrighted materials, where they just let you photocopy whatever you want.
Yes, you just photocopy whatever you want at the time. Here,
I remember
I have this book.
I remember photocopying a full book at a library once. I needed it for university.
If we're thinking about the same time, we took advantage of a librarian forgetting to take the key out of the copier. The override.
Free prints. Yeah.
And we had free reign.
Yeah, there's many times many things were photocopied. That was about this time, a little bit later maybe, but close.
Anything else?
No,
you'd like
it would have been way after this.
Anything else you'd like to add, Jack?
4 years at least.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yes, in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. Jack,
anything else you'd like to add to the wands?
No. It was an excellent read, and I'm sure these got use out of them. There's too much because, like Pat said, in Ed Greenwood fashion, he does go into detail. Like you even a Cole's notes would take a long time.
Yeah. All right, Rob, what do you have next?
My last article is on page 5. It's not much, but it's Mohan. He is doing his editor thing, but is the press doing its best? It's pretty much him going off on coverage
of Satanic Panic. Yeah.
No, it's coverage of Gen Con and D&D in general, but mostly it's
it's the one where
they keep taking pictures of like a role playing game and of a session, and it's all just cosplayers. Yeah. Like it's so people think you have to dress up to play the game and things like this. And he's like, yeah, they're not just going to take a picture of 4 guys sitting around a table having fun.
Because you know why? Because that's not going to stop for someone from turning the page.
No.
But they could do that, but it also explain what the thing is. But he says that it just everything's so superficial. Like the person who went to Gen Con to cover it didn't know what they were covering.
Oh, I 100% agree with them. I'm sure they just sent someone over there. The guy took a picture, and this picture is going to grab people's eye. But I don't know what's going on here, but it's just a bunch of guys sitting around playing
or dressing up and pretending. Yeah. That's how he's just saying it's the D&D for how big it is in the mainstream media. It's getting terribly painted.
Yeah, well,
like even today, like you say D&D.
I was going to say I don't think until maybe the last 5 years.
Yeah,
maybe even
Critical. I think Critical is.
Yeah, you could even argue 10.
Yeah,
that D&D hasn't gotten a good light until just recently. When it became fashionable to be a nerd.
Yeah. Yeah, because it was definitely associated with LARPing a lot. People assume D&D, you just go out and...
I would even go as to say Will Wheaton had a little bit to do with it, too, when he started, when he got his 10 minutes of fame.
Yeah, even Big Bang Theory, as much as I think it's terrible. But
but I'm talking like when he started, what was that game?
Yeah, it was about the same time when Big Bang started, where geeks, you said, geek culture became
and then, what's her face? The Guild, started the Guild
Felicia Day, Yeah, all that. I think World of Warcraft it was probably the beginning of it too. And
the MMORPGs probably brought it a little more into mainstream because now it wasn't just nerds; it was video game players.
Yeah, so I think
I remember instances where it was shown in a favorable light years and years ago. Remember Community when they had their
Community.
Episode where
once again that's about 10, 15 years ago.
There was, and
that was the beginning of it for sure.
Yeah.
Whereas, because all the writers of all those shows grew up with playing D&D and were like, let's show how it really is and how much fun it is. And then people saw it and it's like, I want to try that out. And I think a big resurgence of 5th edition and all the things that came after that was because of all the publicity that got good sight on it, not just, hey, look at these geeks playing stupid games, haha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Didn't help that back in the day, especially when we were in high school, we looked like geeks, and it wasn't helpful that way.
Well,
It's true. There was a certain class. There's a certain stereotype.
Yeah.
I think that's a internal issue. I go by a high school now, and they all look like they're all 8 years old. You couldn't tell a geek from a jock from a.
Well, there isn't that. Everybody's everything now. Like, that's the thing. Yeah.
There was a. It's a.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, things change.
All right.
And they stay the same.
So let's do my article then.
Sure.
Let's go to page 84.
84.
The Silver Twins. So this is a thing for Star Frontiers?
You mean the Judge Dredd? Is that what you said?
No, 84.
84 Silver Twin.
I know.
Crime fighters of the future.
Yeah, they're Judge Dredd. That's what these people are.
Yeah, but for this article, it's for Star Frontiers.
I'm saying they're just copying Judge Dredd.
Okay, I didn't say they weren't, but I'm telling you.
But you
this
keep
article,
saying that's what it's saying.
I don't get the reference.
These Silver Twins, if you read these Silver Twins people, they're just the judges from Judge Dredd. That's what these Silver Twin people are. They wear armor. They have bikes that fly. They have super guns. Like, it's super crime fighters. That's what these people are.
Yeah, that connection. I just thought, okay, but
he's just calling him Judge Dredd, though. But this is for.
That's what they are. They stole it from Judge Dredd.
Again, it doesn't make a difference.
It does. That's what I'm just saying what these people are.
So, it's a nice little extra way to add cool, different ways for anyone playing law enforcement in the Star Frontiers to go. You can either play in a suit or you can use the vehicles. Is the way that works out in this thing. So that's it. I mean, there's not much to say about this. So then it's just another way to play Star Frontiers.
You like your Star Frontiers?
Yeah.
Poor Pat's scared now. He can't say anything.
He yelled at me for saying it's just Judge Dredd.
I read this and I was like, at no point did I think Judge Dredd.
Exactly. Just rubbed it.
if anything, I was.
You know how many different science fiction things out there you could tack to Judge Dredd?
I was getting Silverhawks vibes. To be honest, and that's a reference that no one's gonna get.
I love Silverhawks.
That was about this time too.
I
wish I don't know why that cartoon didn't peak as well as Thundercats did.
I think it was at the end. Turtles, probably at that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came out and killed everything.
It might have been at the time where they said you can't just have a commercial for
that too.
Toys that's a half an hour. You have to have an actual story and morals, and made it much more difficult for that kind of thing. I don't know.
It's true. All right, Jack, you got another article?
No, that would be a breach of the sanctity of the thing that myself and the
maybe on Jack Fight version of the show, but in the Chopper version of the show, there's unlimited ads. That was also stipulated in Section B of your contract.
Unlimited
articles or ads?
Articles and ads.
Oh, so I was just gonna start doing an ad for my.
I got ads.
My homebrew kombucha.
Are we all done with articles? Because you guys also grabbed a couple of my other.
I'm all done with articles.
Yeah, I'm done with articles.
All right. Then, Rob, why don't you go ahead and start?
What about Jack? You skipped him.
Well, he started the articles. You start the ads.
Oh, is that? Oh, you're getting some weird things going on here. Jeez, guess what, motherfucker? Judge Dredd, page 2.
Yeah. Look at that guy. Is he wearing? He looks like he's wearing an exosuit.
He's Silver
He's just
Twain.
got shoulder pads.
Riding a motorcycle.
And I don't see his motorcycle hovering.
They was hover or ground on your Silver Twin guys. This is Judge.
Yeah, it changed. It could either do hover or ground mode.
There is hover cycles in Judge Dredd also, but
maybe the Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, so it's a full color ad for on the page 2. So it's like you flip open the magazine. It's right here. Bam, Judge
Yeah.
Dredd.
And it's bam. Look at the colors.
This is when
Look at
GW said licensed, so I've never played the version of this game,
No.
and I'm not even sure if the Warlord version got changed.
Oh, yeah, Warlord's a miniature game. It's
Yeah, but I think they had the role playing. I think they put the role playing thing out too.
I don't know. I don't know if
I could be wrong about. I could be wrong about that.
I definitely did. They did a board game and they did a miniature game for Judge Dredd. But yeah, Judge Dredd, the role playing game by GW Maryland. That's where GW is based in the States, so that's where you could buy this one for the U.S. customers. But it's a cool ad. I thought it was impactful, and yeah, at the time I wouldn't even know who Judge Dredd was.
No, but that's still, it does the job of an advertisement. You look at that, and
I was reading when did the Judge Dredd comic come out? 84, 82?
In the England, they came out in the 70s.
Yeah, so I was a little familiar with Judge Dredd. I didn't get his comic book a lot, but I got it every once in a while.
Yeah, I think they probably did the.
It's what turned me on into Teenage Mutant Turtles, because it's sort of, they kind of had similar looking art styles at some point.
Yeah, black and white back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure if somebody was doing U.S. reprints of the 2000 AD stuff in the States, that's probably what you were picking up. So
yeah,
because I don't know if 2000 AD was even available in the States at that time. Probably not. It was like a weekly magazine, and it's a weird format. It's big. It's not like a comic book. So, anyways, Judge Dredd.
All right, Jack, what do you got?
Oh, okay. If we could go to page 35.
35. It's on 35.
It's a small one. I'll have to. It's a follow up.
There's a like a drawing version.
There's a hand drawing of it. The one that
drawing. So, in case you missed last week's show, shame on you. First of all, how dare you stop what you're doing right now and go back? Actually, there was not a good show. Maybe just stay right here. Just don't go anywhere. We had discussed the particular dragon model, which the picture that we had from the PDF was lackluster. So here's an artist's rendition, but also I want everyone to take a look at the right up here that says
price.
The size is where the $50 isn't outrageous for what, but it is. Where is it? I should have wrote it on my notes instead of trying to read it here. What was it? It says it was about a foot of metal.
Full foot in length. Yeah, full foot in length.
Each wing is 8 inches long.
Yeah. So that's a foot long, 7 inches tall, and 8 inches wide. No, 16 inches wide because it's 8 inches each wing.
Each wing, yeah.
Jesus.
That is a lot.
I'd just like to point out
those wings would not stay.
This is an artist render of the blurry picture, because
it is.
This
exact
is
same.
very blurry.
Yep. It's exact same pose, everything.
It looks like the horse is and the knight and Halloween. It is October, so they're dressed up as a ghost.
I think the model has like the full
bunting. Is that what they call it? Barding.
Yeah, they would have the what's it called? Just like tape over the horse.
The horse, yeah.
Yeah, but no. So that's a lot, and for
it's a ghost.
And it then my last thing about the this particular thing, it says the fine print comes complete with assembly and painting instructions. Now, I don't know if you at home have ever put together a metal model. It is to say nightmare is an understatement.
Yeah. Especially anything with weight.
To try and keep it together, I don't know. I'm sure marriages were ended. I'm sure
this is when you learned how fast super glue bonded flesh,
and also that it doesn't work great with metal.
Yeah.
But I definitely had I think I had a blue dragon or a silver dragon that was a lot smaller. Like it was only, it was big, but it was only small. Its wings would just flop Like over time, it would just sag and it would crack all the paint on the seams. So imagine this thing: the paint would not last at all.
No.
With a pin vise and the proper stuff,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah. If
sure
you really know what you're doing, yeah.
if you really got into it.
If you were a
Even then,
modeler at the time.
Pin vicing into metal is not as easy as plastic.
Gosh, I don't know if anyone pin viced in the 80s.
I don't think so.
I don't
I
remember.
didn't start pin vicing till the 90s.
Yeah, till maybe even the 2000s for me.
Yeah, it's just metal miniatures are
I started pin vicing during 40K times.
But yeah, I would imagine that it would not be a pleasant experience trying to put this thing together. And the seams would be horrible because the metal never came out of the mold correctly.
I used different. I remember just these days when it was super glue or liquid solder or just whatever I could, whatever I could to get these things to stay together.
Yeah, I remember I had BattleTech miniatures, like from the original metal BattleTech miniatures, and I had a Marauder that it just fell apart constantly. It would not stay together because it was too heavy. They're just too heavy for what they're supposed to support. They cannot support themselves. So
yeah, 100%.
Thank God for plastic.
So let's go to my ad. We did Judge Dredd. So let's go to page 9.
9. This isn't. You haven't even got one of my ads yet.
And we're going to Dragonfire. And I wrote in my notes, are these the first computer aids for D&D?
First official ones, I think, because there's always those programs and crap that they always try to put in the maze.
This one allows you to generate monsters and characters. Mm-hmm. You can store your favorite character on disc.
I do like how it says it's
5-inch floppy.
Yeah, it's for any gaming system. This is not associated with D&D.
It allows you to determine treasure and weather. It's chock full of stuff. And
I would be curious how terrible it looks nowadays.
Oh yeah, I'd be curious too. But I like how it says you can call to order, and you call to order it.
Yeah.
And then you have to specify if you're buying it for Apple, Commodore 64, IBM, but then you can reserve it for the Atari and the TRS-80.
So they were working on them. They weren't, pre-order situation only. But
when's I guess Windows really doesn't pick up until 90s, I guess, right?
Yeah, well, Windows 95, right? We had this discussion the other day.
Before that, there's Windows before
Windows 3.1. I don't remember when Windows 3.1 was like 92.
Yeah, maybe.
90, 91, somewhere in there.
So I remember there was some fun drop-down, like, cool programs back in the day, real simple ones that I liked, but yeah, I can imagine how terrible this would look. It would probably just be text.
Especially if it was for the Commodore 64.
I had the
$25,
then the Commodore 64, and then we had the IBM 386. It was a Hewlett and Packard. I went through all the stages of grief.
Yeah, it was $50 if you wanted the Handbook of Horrors and the thing, but you needed the Dragonfire to have the Handbook of Horrors. So I don't know what.
It's Dragonfire with Handbook of Horrors is $50, or it's $25 and $30. That's expensive. Yeah. Programs were expensive back in the day. I remember computer programs were just crazy prices. Still are, I guess, technically. But, yeah.
So, all right, Jack.
I did mine. Remember Ralph Partha, the dragon?
I got 2 ads. 2 more ads.
All right, I got one more after you. So, Rob, what do you got?
Oh, God.
Page 29. How could you not talk about Elvira?
Elvira. I left it because I really thought Jack was going to take Elvira.
Elvira promoting chill, but who cares what she's promoting because she's Elvira. To this day, she's still hot, and she's like 90.
Well, it's got 9. Well, she's got 9 Cold Red Adventures writhing now at her store.
Cassandra Peterson, natural redhead.
Hey, stop blowing up her kayfabe. It's Elvira, Jack.
What was she called? Mistress of the
Dark?
She had a nomenclature, like a mistress of something. I wish I could remember what it was.
Well, that's what the movie was, wasn't it? Mistress of... Wasn't it Dark?
Yeah.
The Dark? I don't remember. That movie's great, too. It's hilarious, that movie.
My favorite is when she hits her head on. How's your head? I've got no complaints. It was that level of...
It's a great movie. Yeah. It is a great movie.
It's just funny.
So she's advertising chill with a bunch of chill things. She has like an anthology chill adventure, which is kind of fun. But it's showing how much money is going into role-playing games at this point, where they're able to like get stars to advertise for them. Like it's pretty interesting.
It's true, and it's a chill too, which is not,
Yeah, it's pace setter. It's
time,
not like it's not a huge
it's not
company.
it's not a top 5 company.
Yeah. So it just means there's a lot of money kicking around. I see similar things today with certain miniature games, just having crazy amounts of money doing giant blow up mechs and stuff. But it's funny how some companies get like a surge of money and just spend it on weird things. Like they said, the Bloom Brothers, they bought tons of like expensive cars and stuff with all the TSR money. These guys are all geeks
that was just mismanaging funds and everything.
No, but it's just once again, it's geeks who just get tons of money all of a sudden. They were never cool. Like Gygax dumped his wife and started dating a Playboy model. Like it's just crazy stuff like that. Like
it sounds like more embezzlement than anything else.
Yeah,
those guys for sure. But it's the just like the internet boom where all those internet geeks all of a sudden have all this money and spending on stupid things, and similar thing on the smaller scale obviously is happening at the world of gaming now. I'm sure like the guy who wrote Chill probably is like, I want to meet Elvira. Let's have her in an ad.
But this is also cross promotion, because Elvira was doing local television in a niche with a niche audience. There's no way
she was Dr. Demento-ish in my book.
In no way me in rural Canada would have known who she was at all.
No?
And there would be no way for me to find out. But it's like an ad for her as well. So like
different for me in Chicago.
Yeah, I think I knew who Elvira was even at that age.
All right, let's go to my last ad, page 27.
Yeah, wrestling. That's why I probably would have known her. She was involved with wrestling. So as a kid, she was in She was in a commenter in WrestleMania 2. So, that's probably why I would have known her. Anyways, yeah, Pat.
27.
27. Oh, right here.
Yeah. Avinia.
Is that it? I was going to say what is that word?
Avinia. I thought this was you would have grabbed this, because this is literally an RPG from some game company I never heard of that is just basically made a whole world based on the Scandinavians. Just a Norse adventure world. I think it was. I just said I never saw this RPG, but I thought it was a cool idea.
Yeah, Columbia
I'd never
Games.
heard of it.
No, it never even come across my brain as. I assumed it was going to be like who are some of those companies that make a lot of the generic fantasy kind of stuff? You know, that's who I was thinking.
Yeah.
This was when I saw the ad.
When I was reading this, I was like, it's just like a whole Viking world. You know, just ice and fjords and all those other things.
But is it? I wonder if it's in its own fantasy version, or is it actually Vikings? That's my curious question.
It sounds like it's a fantasy because it says adventure world, and because it comes with a full color map. It says an overview of history, culture, and economics plus religion. So I guess it's a whole different world in a sense.
We'd have to get it and see the geography if it's just a
if it's less than 99.
Scandinavia.
But it has an illustrated reference manual.
I would be curious if you could even find this. Like, even to say, even if it's $1,000, could you even find this for sale anywhere?
I'll give it a shot. I mean, what is
what's that, Jack?
The Dragon Bone is harder to find, I think, than this.
Well, that's just, But what were you saying, Jack?
The Columbia Games logo, I've seen that 1,000 times. Like that, it's not like a flash in the pan, but I've never seen this particular thing, so I don't know. It could go either way.
It could go either way. We'll find out in the future. Pat will get back to us.
I found one.
Oh, you got back to us already. 45? How much was this at the time? That's only double the price. Oh, Harn. No. I've definitely heard of Harn. I wonder if that's anything to do with. Is that maybe that's just a Viking word?
Maybe. Yeah, I think that's sort of like when you talk about Huskarls or something.
Yeah,
it's probably
because there is a game Harn that I remember. Maybe it comes out of this. Anyways, my last ad, since Pat's too bothered looking things up, is on page 80.
Harn, it says our trademarks of Columbia Games.
Oh, so there you go. So I've heard of
Oh.
Harn. So this is like a precursor to Harn. We're gonna go to page. I thought it was an 83. Maybe I'm going insane. Yes, it is on 83, but it was not because it didn't come up. It just says man to man, so it confused me. It's like, what am I looking at?
Oh,
Again,
But-
before we
Jack.
start your ad, I just want to point out in the Ivani ad, Canadians had to add 25%.
Jesus, rip off.
so do Americans, though.
What?
In that same blurb, it says that yes, Canadians have to, even though it's in Washington, you also have to add 25%.
That
I've
doesn't
already
make sense.
dipped away from it, but yeah, I remember seeing it.
Oh, no, that's the foreign. So anyone but Canadians have to pay 25% in US dollars, whereas Canadians have to add 25% in Canadian dollars.
I'm so confused. Anyways, back to my ad, which is on page 83, my final ad. I saw this and I was like, oh, that's Steve Jackson Games, man to man, whatever. But you read closely, and what this is the beginning of Gurps. This is it's the very first thing that uses the fantasy combat system Gurps, General Universal Role-Playing System. So this is the first of the Gurps come to life from Steve Jackson Games. So
Oh, man. So, yeah, it's a smooth board game. So it's a board game using the GURPS system.
yeah,
That's
GURPS.
pretty cool.
yeah.
I didn't see that one.
I didn't either. I did, obviously. But I was just like, oh, what's this? Steve Jackson game. Man to man. Man to man got me excited for a second there for some reason. But yeah. Then I was like, oh, Car Wars, Ogre, okay, Illuminati. He read all those, yep. And this is, then I saw the word GURPS. I'm like, GURPS? We haven't seen GURPS yet. And this is because this is it.
No, yeah, this is the proto
GURPS.
single-celled organism stage of it.
Yeah. So there you go. I always like to see when new things pop up on the horizon, and this is new. It's a thing.
It's a thing.
That's it for me.
I'm going to buy Ivania for Rob.
No, you don't have to buy Ivania for mine.
I do.
No, that's $50 for some.
If
that's
it
crazy.
was
It's
if it was
between $9 and $99.
no, if it was $15, I'd be like, go for it. But no.
Crazy.
Anyways, that's it, Pat.
All right.
Take us out of here.
That's it for the Dragon's Tome then. It was great to go over this magazine with you guys. I hope everyone listening found something fun and brand new to add to their campaign if they haven't. Those who are still playing first edition. I don't know what's going to happen to our listeners once we move into second edition because we have a lot of first editioner guys. I hope those guys. I hope those guys stick around.
Maybe we'll get a whole new group of people.
Yeah. I hope they all just disappear and I won't miss them.
Whoa, hurtful.
Jack, you said that on the outside.
I know. You say those things when Rob hits the clacker.
Yeah,
Heel
geez.
turn.
Heel turn.
Fan
Jack's-
favorite.
Jack's now in the
Alright.
hundreds. He's become evil.
So we all know Jack didn't mean that. So as we
He meant everything he says.
as we retract his statement before we get canceled, I'd like to say thanks for listening. So for
Two of three of us like you.
For the Dragon's Tome, I have been your host, Chopper.
And I'm Jack.
And that was Jock, the evil Jack. We'll bring back real Jack next time. I'm Rob. Bye.
And we will see you next week for episode 103.
Like, share, subscribe, comment below.
There you go. Have a good night. Bye-bye.